Okay. So I guess we'll just begin by just noticing where attention is currently. So where is your attention at this moment? If you're just going to stop to notice, like, where is most of my attention right now? So for example, it could be in the body. It could be in the sound. And it could be in the physical sensation of the breath. But it also could be in a space of thought. So it might be saying something about the body. It might be saying something about the breath, the content, conceptually of these words. So if you just notice that, if you do notice your attention in the space of thought, then you can open your attention up out of that into a sensory anchor that's just simply here. So, for example, the sensation in the hands and the feet, the heartbeat, the breath, something that exists only in physicality, the sounds in the room, even the appearance that's in front of us right now, so like a computer screen, a camera, cup of tea. And let's just let the attention rest in this physicality, this immediate presence, that which is undeniably present. And as we do that, notice if there's a tendency for attention to seem to be pulled away from this immediate physicality that's simply here, the senses, wherever your sensory anchor is, into a space of thought. And usually there's the suggestion of not here-ness. So there's the presence, the here-ness, the undeniable isness of, for example, the sensation in my feet making contact with the ground. And it's just there. It might not be static, but it's just there. Or it's just here. And the space of thought, if you notice, has a kind of over there-ness to it, a somewhere else-ness suggested in it. It generally takes a position apart from the sense, the sensation, in a somehow different position, a position that's somewhere else is viewing it. And it might talk about it objectively using concept to analyze it, to kind of make sense of it, or it might be talking about something else completely, another time, another place. So if that's unnoticed, then again, something becomes aware of that. And then there's an opportunity to open attention out of that space of thought back into that which is undeniably here, the sense experience. So the sense experience might appear, uninteresting to that point of view in mind. It's, overlookable. It's just here-ness is uninteresting. Or it could be the most interesting aspect of experience. So notice that tendency, for me, the feeling of that is kind of like a pulling back or a turning away, a looking elsewhere, which might appear as like a restlessness or an apathy, or the what's next, and then the focus and attention and the content of thought, which talks about a better experience that's not here, or an experience that was. But what is it that's just here? The thought even appears as this presence, as this immediacy, as another aspect of this sense experience, just another part of this display of presence. But there's this distinct flavor, so to speak, or like a signature in that thought experience that, seems to be distinct from the flavor of presence, so to speak. The content seems to be distinct. I'm just making a distinction here. There's something about it, the conceptual content of thought, distinct from its substance, which is presence, which only appears as this non-dual mystery right now. And it's like there's an invitation in that to pull attention away from immediacy into like a relationship. A relationship with a thought experience, or a relationship with this sense experience, a version of it, to try and figure it out or understand it or figure out what it means. There's just a distinct signature in that feels like me, that feels like that relationship has to happen. But what is it that's here that's too immediate for a relationship? To that sensory anchor, whatever it is. Whoever it is just certainly here. That's going to be present. It might not be static, but it's going to be present throughout this entire call that we're doing. But there may be an invitation here to go somewhere else. So the sound of the words, the language that we're using, only points to the substance, which is sound. The knowing of the content of language, which happens without any effort, that's happening right now as these words roll out, only point to the knowingness in and as which they appear. So as I'm speaking these words, there is sound. There's just sound. There's an immediate knowing of the content, which is just knowing. But there's something else, like there can be something else in that. A relationship apart from the sound and the knowing. That just feels like it needs to be there. And it's like just like a TARDIS. I think one of you described this to me. It's like a TARDIS, you walk in the door and then there's a whole world, a past, a future, a self, other people. But in just the sound, in just the knowing, we are not other people. We're just experience talking to itself. And in that, it doesn't matter what the language says. It just doesn't matter, because what's primary to that is the sound, which is pure awareness, pure knowingness. And it's just here anyway. It's not changed by the language. It's not changed by the point of view. But it's like, at the same time, we're here for a reason. I would suggest, in my experience, the reason is for reality, ourselves, experience to just express itself without any sort of reason other than the expression itself, which is happening right now. So it's like whoever I'm talking to here, like you're the only one I'm talking to, because there's only one here. And it's not apart from these sounds that I'm making. It just is the sound, it is the knowing. It's just completely everything that's here now. So there's like a freedom in that, we don't have to figure anything out. We don't have to understand anything. We don't really have to talk about anything conceptual, although we're using concepts, but just the sound's enough. Just the presence is enough. So it's like the pressure is off. It can be. When we're not other people, when we're not separate points of view, there's no value system in this. There's just what's here right now. And it's perfect. I'm going to suggest that it's perfection already. It's liberation already, because it is the only experience. So what we can describe is I'm going to suggest that anything that we say, we appear to be different people talking to each other, but anything we say is a description of our own experience right now. It's reality describing itself, and it might be a thought experience. It might be an attempt to describe what's not a thought experience, which isn't actually possible from the point of view in the subject-object. But what we are, what I am, what you are, can understand itself at a different level. It doesn't have to be known, it doesn't have to be objectified, but it doesn't exclude any of that as well. It's just already so. So I'll kind of finish with this and kind of suggest that, in my experience, what this seems like is a work of art, is art it can have an interpretation, but it doesn't need to. Like I was saying, it only refers to itself. It only refers to the expression that's happening now. And, we are it, expressing in a kind of artistic way, simply for the sake of expressing. And it's infinitely free. It can appear as anything without being limited. So it's not conditional. There's no value system in it. Liberation is already so. But just watch for the and then, or the conditional point of view. That liberation is only liberation when it looks like this, or for this person. so on and so on. That's something that's added to this. That's made of the very substance of liberation itself. So if anyone kind of going that way with this, just to kind of express that if anyone feels nervous about talking or sharing, that kind of, it's not a perspective, but perspective, so to speak, can maybe help to make it easier to share, because I know it can be a bit nerve-wracking sometimes. But it's like what we say doesn't mean anything. There's no meaning in it. The only thing that can give it meaning and value is a personal point of view. But we're all here to transcend that personal point of view. So it's much more freedom to let go of the meaning. And that just means that you can express authentically.